Well, happy Thanksgiving, Jim. Don't ask me why I'm working this morning on Thanksgiving Day, but I think it's Bill's fault. He's the one that talked me into working. We already have one truck loaded and on the way. Beautiful sunrise this morning, and that truck's waiting for me, but the knives are dull. So, I got the pickup backed over here, and I gotta touch up the knives with the grinder. So I'm up on top of the chipper, and I got my pickup backed up over here so I can use the welder as a generator and use the grinder to touch up the knives, because you can see this is burnt here. That's where the wood is rubbing on it because it's so dull. You can see this edge it should be like a knife. Well, that's what they call these chipper knives, because they should be nice and sharp, but you can see they are all chewed up. And when they start getting like this, they're not chipping because the wood is just burning against them. So you need to take and put an edge back on this, and it's kind of a crude way of doing things. You can see I actually sharpened this one already. It's got chunks missing out of it, but it's got an edge again. And the reason why I do this is, rather than putting it on the knife sharpener back at the shop, which takes a lot of work, this wood, well, it's so dry and so dirty, and it's sitting on it was put in, well, it was limbed back in August, and set on dirt, and now this dirt is frozen to the wood, and when you send it through the chipper, it dulls the knives because that frozen mud on the sticks. This is what I'm talking about. Here's a chunk of wood that fell off to the side of the chipper, but this is all frozen dirt that's stuck to the end of that, and when you send that through the chipper, it dulls those knives fast. So there's no sense putting perfectly good knives in there. You just touch them up with a grinder, get them decent, and it'll chip all right. And you can see up here on the drum, there's actually 8 knives staggered. You can see this big dent here, and I'll show you what that's from. So I'm standing at the back of the chipper. That's the feed wheel back there that spins and sucks the wood in. But on the deck here, there's these 3 chains that the wood gets fed in. Anyway, Moorburg, when the chipper was new, it had triangles welded on here, and they were welded on these side links, and these chains would break right where they welded them. And of course they went through the chipper, and they would mess. They'd bust knives, bust holders, bust everything up. So we finally replaced the chains, and we bought chains with nothing on them triangles. We didn't want them on there because that's what was breaking them. But they would sit there, and they didn't have any traction to feed wood. So I welded chunks of grater blade. That's a cutting edge. And I staggered them through here. Actually, John helped me. John, if you're watching this. And that works pretty well, and we haven't had any broken chains since. Another thing that happens, or has happened, is these knife holders, this one big block here, and these 4 bolts come loose, and this thing comes right out, and this thing, the drum is spinning very fast. This one actually came out and punctured the drum, and I had to fix all that and put a new piece of metal in here, and I had to get it fairly well balanced, and I actually think I must have done all right, because it seems to be pretty balanced. It's been that way for over 2 years now. Well, this is the control panel for the chipper. It gives you a lot of different information here, but anyway, I suppose I better get my butt back to work here and get those knives sharpened up and get chipping, get that truck loaded, just a side note, we call this a dolly. It's like a little trailer that we stick under the front of the chipper, and then we can drag it around with the skidder, move it ahead along the pile here. Sunrise. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Just remember all the things you have to be thankful for, and have a great turkey day.